You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
So San Diego Con starts this week. And I started thinking back to my first Comic-Con. Now, I had gone to a convention when I was 11. That's the one I met Jack Kirby and Walter Koenig and Carolyn Monroe. And that one always stood out to me as just amazing. But by 1994, I was starting to, I accidentally became a comic book publisher, and I had a bunch of people working for me. And we were going to put out books. And one of the artists came to me and said, "Hey, Dan, can you write me a letter to Comic-Con saying that I'm working on books for you so I can get a pro badge?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Now, I grew up in Los Angeles, just up the road from Comic-Con. And I think I might have heard of it, but I had never been to it. I never even thought about going to it. But suddenly the idea that we could get free badges, that's amazing. So the following year, I put in for a badge for myself and for a couple other people in the studio. And we went down as a group in 1995 and walked the convention center floor of my first San Diego Con. And it was pretty interesting, but the convention center was much smaller. If you ever see a map of the San Diego Convention Center, it like goes this way. On the right-hand side, it goes up, and then suddenly there's this area, it starts kind of going either left or down. It changes direction. There's a delineation that it's not a straight line. Well, it used to end at that point. Avatar Press used to be right there. And they were there for a long time, even after they built it. But it used to be I could walk into the convention center and walk up and down the aisles and say hi to everybody and then go about my day. The thing has gotten so insanely large now that if you go in and you just try to walk up and down the aisles and say hi to everybody you know, that's pretty much day one. Finished. That's your preview night taken care of. It is a long ass walk. But we walked the convention the first time and just said, talked to people, made some contacts, stuff like that. And then the following year, we had a book. So we got a booth. And my second Comic-Con, I was actually as an exhibitor. And we were in the middle of nowhere. We didn't do that well. I didn't have the real knowledge of conventions at that point. So that was 96, 97, and 98. We just walked around the show again. But in 99, we got a booth. And that was pretty spectacular because we were in an aisle directly across from Hurricane Comics, the guys that put out Violent Messiahs and Chassis, Josh Dysart, Tone Rodriguez. And that was the weekend, or that was the point where they signed with Image. They signed at the convention, and Tone and I became good friends. Directly next to them was Don McGregor, the great Black Panther writer, and Dean Zachary shared a booth with him. And then after that was Don Brown, who did the book Little Red Hot. I think that's what it was. Yeah. And then to our left on the end cap was this brand new company, this kind of upstart, that their head guy had this really weird idea of how comics should be done. And he would talk to anybody about it. And I got into conversations with him about it because I disagreed. He wanted it to be like an office. He wanted cubicle forms for artists and writers and colorists. And he basically wanted a creative team to be sitting in the same little square so they could talk to each other and stuff like that. And while I can see some advantages of it to somebody who isn't a creator, the whole creative process is not 9 to 5. It never has been. So, yeah, it was. We got into a few heated discussions, and I told him that his idea was a little crazy, and I don't think it would ever make it. That guy turned out to be Mark Alessi, and that brand new company was CrossGen. And in retrospect, I'm not sure if I won that argument or not, but I think I did, because CrossGen's not around anymore. So those were just the first few conventions I went to at San Diego Comic-Con. I continued there regularly for years, setting up booths with Tone Rodriguez and Gus Seguera, and we had always an artist alley. Or one time we did a big end cap booth that we had a bunch of different people kind of chip in. Everybody took turns. We had a schedule. It's like, this is your turn to the booth. And one of the people who got involved with that was the great Dwayne McDuffie. And I got to hang out with Dwayne McDuffie for a few hours on a Saturday. And it's amazing how many just huge name people would come by and talk to Dwayne. And because I'm sitting next to him, talk to me. So I'm getting to talk to like Walter Simonson and John Byrne, and just, yeah. I love Comic-Con. But I love Comic-Con from the 90s and the 2000s. What they have now is just a madhouse. I don't know what it's going to be like this year with the majority of the studios not there. And I still kind of miss it. I still kind of miss getting in and seeing everybody, you know, going by the Top Cow booth and the DC booth and the Image booth, and just seeing all the people I know. But I'm good sitting home today. I'm good not walking around that convention center in this heat right now. Stay tuned for the Dan Wickline Show. JD forgot to put me back on. All right, guys, how are you doing? Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show. We got a good lineup today. We've got What's in the Box later on. And, of course, Mog and Mel will be doing SketchUp. They have some good guests, but they're going to be giving away a piece of art today, a really cool piece that you guys will want to check out. And who's going to turn down free art, right? So stick around for that. Hello to Ed. To Triple B, happy birthday to your daughter. Jay's here, Backwoods here. Good to see you guys. So, all right. Today's show is going to change it up a bit because, well, two reasons. One is we finally got some clarification on what we can and can't do according to the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild and stuff. They are not asking people to refrain from reviewing, reacting, or analyzing TV and movie shows. So we can continue doing our Secret Invasion discussions. We can talk about movies and stuff as reviews. What we can't do is, well, for one thing, we can't be hired to do promotional stuff. So we're going to limit that. We will still try to dance around some of this stuff, keep it to a relative easy balance. But to the best of my knowledge, what we're going to do going forward is we'll cover some stuff, and we're still going to support the union as best as possible. So if that changes, if we get notification that they can't do that anymore, that then we'll go and do other story stuff. But for now, like today, we're going to talk about Secret Invasion because there's a lot to talk about. We've got 2 episodes to talk about, and I think some of the stuff that dropped this week is surprisingly important. So, it's been a very busy morning for me personally. I had a bunch of stuff I had to do and get done, a couple appointments and stuff like that. So I'm not as organized as I usually am, which is not really that much anyway. But we're going to hit a couple of the news highlights, and then we will get into that. And we've got some key collectibles. So the news is going to be a little rough because I'm going to literally pull it off of some news sites. One of the things that people are talking about right now is Disney is going to do something a little different. Maybe it's because the numbers haven't been great, or some of the reaction to Secret Invasion hasn't been necessarily great, which I disagree with. But they are going to put the first 3 episodes of Secret Invasion onto Hulu. So starting August 17th. So if you don't have Disney Plus, but you have Hulu, you can watch the first 3 episodes of Secret Invasion. Now, I don't know if they're going to put the other 3 on there, if they're going to do it in waves, or if they're like, well, here's the first 3. Now, if you want to see the other 3, come on over to Disney Plus. Don't know. But so this is the first time that something created specifically for Disney, for Marvel, will go over to Hulu. So interesting move. I think it's definitely a sign that they want to get the numbers up, and that they want to that they're kind of keeping their deal with Hulu. So a couple trailers dropped. There's a new Harley Quinn trailer. There's a new trailer for Winning Time, the Lakers show, which was surprisingly good. I really enjoyed that when it came out. So I'm looking forward to season 2 of that. All right, let's see what else we got going on. Did that one. Marvel has confirmed that Park Seo-joon's character, which is going to be, where was the name of the character? Prince. I had it here a second ago. Okay. Prince Yan. Prince Yan is going to be an ally for Carol Danvers, according to an interview Marvel producer Mary Livonis did with Entertainment Weekly. Now, in the comics, Prince Yan is actually married to Carol Danvers. So he does become his wife, or her husband. And there's also talk that there will be some musical numbers involving Prince Yan. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. All right. What else we got? We got. Remember yesterday we talked about how John Boyega was kind of changing his tune and saying, well, if it's a good script and a good story, then I might come back. Well, they also asked him to rank the 3 Star Wars movies he was in. And in order from what he said was Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker, I think that's the 3rd one, and then the middle one. Then the one, Episode 8, is his least favorite of the 3 that he's in. So I can kind of agree with that, but I just don't like any of them. Anyway, so Blue Beetle, there was some rumors earlier that Warner Brothers had refused the request to do some reshoots for Blue Beetle, even though they're doing reshoots all the time for Aquaman. But recently the director set it straight that they originally had asked for 5, but got permission to do 2, and they found that was enough. So they did get 2 days of reshoots on Blue Beetle. The runtime for the movie has come out. It's looking to be just over 2 hours, like 2 hours and 7 minutes. And it's going to be one of the shorter films from DC, but this may not be a bad thing. Just because it's longer doesn't mean it's better. Sometimes cutting it is a good idea. So, also, there's a new Wonder Woman graphic novel out called Wonder Woman Historia. And the blurb on the back says, "The wait is over. The entire story of the Amazons can be told. Millennia ago, Queen Hera and the goddesses of the Olympian pantheon grew greatly dissatisfied with their male counterparts. And far from their sight, they put a plan into action. A new society was born, one never before seen on Earth, capable of wondrous and terrible things. But their existence could not stay a secret for long. When a despairing woman named Hippolyta crossed the Amazon's path, a series of events was set into motion that would..."
Your message to Sean says, "Send a motion that would. Do you want? I won't send it."
For some reason, whatever I just read triggered Siri. So, but their existence could not be kept secret long. When a despairing woman named Hippolyta crossed the Amazon path, a series of events was set into motion that would lead to an outright war in heaven and the creation of the Earth's greatest guardians. It says Paradise Lost is so basically, but in there on the book, it also has the tag required reading for fans excited for the upcoming series Paradise Lost, and that is going to be the Wonder Woman TV series that they're talking about, which Gunn described as Paradise Lost is about Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all the inhabitants of Paradise Island. So they're already starting to talk that up, and somehow this Historia graphic novel will be connected to it, or kind of inspiring it. Then this is Kelly Sue DeConnick with art by I can't read the art on this. So, but if you're looking for a Wonder Woman pickup, this is a Black Label book, so it can be a little more adult. So it might be worth checking out. So let's see, Backwoods taking off. So take care of Backwoods. As someone who wasn't that big fan of Captain Marvel, the Marvels looks really good. I hope it delivers. I agree. I think it should be interesting. And I found myself really enjoying Miss Marvel more so than I ever expected I would. So if it has some of those elements in it too, I think I'd be okay with it. So you could always fall back on crochet and D&D with Dan. Yeah, I could. This is interesting. We've been doing Warhammer talk, and I've talked about how there's a new Warhammer edition, a 10th edition, that is getting a lot of stuff that's, they've released a lot of the information for free. You don't necessarily have to, pay for the rules and pay for certain things. But they have put out, like, you can get all the index cards, they call them, which is all the information for the individual characters. Well, they have put out those index cards printed on this real nice paper, and it's got all, it's real shiny and looks good. And this wasn't too expensive. I won't say exactly how much because I think YouTube doesn't like that. But as you can see, for every character you're playing, like this is for Grand Master Voldus, you get a two-sided card with everything you need to know about that particular player. So you go through your index cards and you pull out the ones you need for that game, whichever characters you're running, and you just keep those there. And then when it's time, you pull that card up, okay, and then you put them So it's kind of a nice little new way they're doing it. Instead of having to have like a big book and flipping pages, you can just lay the cards out in front of you and grab them as you need them. So these just came in yesterday I ordered them, and there's a good number of them, some for characters I don't even have yet, but that means I don't have to, if I get any new figures, I don't have to worry about, I don't have this one or I don't have that one. So it works out pretty well. I like these. And I need to order a set for the other army I'm building, which is the Thousand Suns. But these will work for Grey Knights. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the 2 episodes of episodes 4 and 5 of Secret Invasion and where we might be going. And some of it's a surprise. So we'll be right back.
Why was Princess Zelda sad after watching a bunch of YouTube videos? She couldn't find the link in the description. We'll stop if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's super easy. Click subscribe and click the bell when you do. And thanks for supporting the EXP.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds, a promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
You know how when you go to Comic-Con, after Comic-Con, you go to the hotel bar, and there's a whole bunch of people playing music and dancing, and you've got Pikachu and Lara Croft Tomb Raider doing the cha-cha slide just down from Deadpool and Batman and Wonder Woman? That's every Saturday night over on the Experience Twitch channel. Join Taji Beats for the EXP Dance Party, exclusively on Twitch, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Programming on the EXP is made possible by viewers like you, or your local comic shop, or that Kickstarter you backed, or the publisher you like, or comic industry professionals who want to share a message with the world. Really, anyone who wants to advertise with us can. If you're interested in seeing a product you know and love, or are creating, or are publishing, or are involved with, advertised here on The Experience, and having your message shared with our viewers, please reach out by scanning the QR code below or visiting our website and using the contact form.
Okay, we're going to talk about the show in a second. Going to get to it, but I got some business I got to take care of. Jay, come here. If either one of you can make that horrendous commercial, the one where he makes the Zelda joke about Link in the comments, if you could make that disappear so we never have to hear it again, I will hook you up. I will make you a beanie. I will paint a minifig for you. Something. We'll get you compensated. But that video needs to go away.
Why was Princess Zelda sad after watching a bunch?
Do you want to start a war, JD? Really? Okay, folks, welcome back. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Kind of funny to say that after that, but all right, before we kick off talking about that, I want to point out that yesterday we did a lovely conversation about Red Sonja and all her backstory and stuff. Well, it turns out there is an absolutely killer Humble Bundle deal going on right now. They have almost 250 digital issues of Red Sonja, pretty much covering most of what Dynamite has done with the character. And it's all available for the pay what you want model. So it's like $770 worth of books, and you could get them for as cheap as like $18 for all of them, or a smaller bundle for less money. Or you could donate more money. That's an option, because part of the proceeds from this goes to the Hero Initiative, which is absolutely my favorite charity, that they help comic creators in need. And this is the bundle, the 50th anniversary bundle. Jay will put the link in the chat, but look at these. You got Red Sonja and the Superpowers. You got classic Red Sonja books. You've got the Gail Simone stuff. You've got that's Red Sonja by Amy Chu and Carlos Gomez. Red Sonja and Chaos comics books. There's just a ton of great Red Sonja stuff. There's Amanda Palmer and Jimmy Palmiotti's run. There's some Terry Dodson art. Yeah, so if you've been looking to catch up on reading Red Sonja, haven't had a chance, and want just to be inundated with the she-devil with a sword, this Humble Bundle's for you. Like I said, for like $18, you can get all of them. So, and like I said, part of the proceeds go to Hero Initiative. So check that out. All right, let's get to Secret Invasion. We've had 2 episodes, and the first thing I want to kind of address is some of the online negativity about this show. Is the majority of what I've been hearing negative. So if you think that people don't like this show, the main complaint people seem to have is that it's not as big as the comics. Now, they never said that they were going to be doing the comics. They said they're doing their version of Secret Invasion. And that's how it works. The comic one still exists. It doesn't make the comic one disappear. They're just using it in a different way, telling a different type of story with this setup. But I've heard people getting as nitpicky about it as the lighting in a scene being more just flat and not cinematic lighting. And it's like, really? That's the level of complaint you're going to now. Because you can't pick on this show for the acting or the dialogue. It's been fantastic. There are some scenes that are seriously going to get Emmy consideration. So I don't know why people, I do know why. People are just on a kick of tearing down anything Marvel because it got popular. And it's what people do. So if you haven't watched this because you think that, everybody nobody likes it, everybody online hates it. No, it's just people who want you to click on their site saying negative things, so you'll click on their site. This has been a really strong show. Is it what we got in the books where it's all these different characters and stuff? No, it's not what they were trying to do. They never were trying to do that. They never said they were trying to do that. So if somebody is telling you it's bad because it's not doing what they think it should, you should probably watch it for yourself. Just saying. All right, let's do spoiler warnings just in case. All right, just to catch you guys up, episode 3 ended with Gaia, after helping out her father to stop the submarine strike on the airplane. She ends up getting confronted by Gravik and shot and killed. Well, we later find out that before she left the compound, this is how the episode opens, we see her getting up and we see her healing by using extremis, and we see her basically using the super soldier, or the super scroll procedure on herself. Now this is very important because there's a couple things to note. It appears that when she does it, she just grabs one vial. She doesn't take the one with Groot, Groot's DNA or Call Obsidian's DNA. And I could be wrong. This is just how it looked to me, that she grabbed one vial, put it in, and it looked like there was spots for more, and got the powers of extremis. Now, the fact that she did that seems really important. But we'll get back to that. So that's how the episode starts. We see a lot in the third episode. We find out, we had already found out that Rhodey was potentially a Skrull because of the call he made to Vara or Priscilla at the end. And we knew to question Fury's wife. But the fourth episode gave us a lot. It verified that, the Rhodey thing, or as some people are now calling her Scrody. And we say him, her, because when she's not Rhodey, it's a female Skrull named Rava, who is actually in the comics. I believe Rava is it Pagan? Right. Pagan was the one that had been Spider-Woman in the comics. Rava is one that was involved with Black Bolt. So they're using all these Skrull names from the comics, but not necessarily in the way they were used in the comics. But Rava is kind of a jerk. And when Nick goes to see him as Rhodey, basically Nick takes a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, which is amazing bourbon, and basically shares it with Rhodey, and Rhodey drinks it, and it puts a tracker. So jelly. Yeah, I would kill for that bottle. Well, not kill, but I would love just to try a glass of that. So what we end up with at the end of the episode is there's a confrontation between Priscilla and Fury, and it plays out about their relationship. And there's a moment where he knows that she's supposed to kill him, and they have their guns out and they both shoot, but they both miss on purpose, which kind of proves her loyalty is to Nick more so than to Gravik. Then we have the big finale where Gravik and his team are trying to kill President Ritson. Nick and Talos show up. There's a big scuffle. They are able to save the president, but it's revealed that Skrulls were involved, that Talos, it's revealed that Talos is a Skrull as he saves the president, and then Gravik kills him before running off. So the whole plan was to make it look like the Russians attacked, and it didn't quite work out. But Gravik's got a backup plan. The problem is, and we find out in the next episode, and Talos does die, like I said. So, and it's not one of those where he may come back, because they burned his body in the fifth episode. He's done. No more Talos. But Gaia comes to meet with Nick and wants to bury her father. He tells her to go to Priscilla, who can help her with that. There's a scene where Gravik sends some people over to kill Priscilla for not obeying orders, and that showdown happens while Gaia's there, and the two of them fight together. And interesting little team there. Nick takes the president to the hospital. Now, one of the things I've seen online is everybody's like, why is there nobody in the hallway? Why isn't it just this big, huge scene of people running back and forth like it is anytime a president is rushed to a hospital, like in West Wing or something like that? And I was thinking, well, there's a good chance Nick didn't take him to the hospital that everybody would have expected. I think Nick put the guy in his car, and when he realized Talos was dead, he jammed out of there without any escort, went to a hospital, maybe not announcing it, went in, said, I've got the American president, clear the hallways, get him into surgery, or get him taken care of. And then, so I think at that point, he was kind of working on his own and forced the hallways cleared and stuff like that. So minimum people. That's how it read to me, that it was Nick just kind of taking control. Where other people are like, oh, no, it should have been better lighting. It should have been, it's like, geez. Okay. And it's funny. He's trying to whisper in the ear of the unconscious president, don't trust Rhodey. Yeah, the scrolls, the scrolls aren't the bad guys and all this stuff. Yeah, or it was aliens. It wasn't the Russians. Yeah. Well, Gravik's backup plan is for Rhodey to go in and tell the president, it's right. It is aliens, not the Russians, except for the aliens are working with the Russians, and here's proof. And he's going to show them the base that they're set up at, so that the president will then order a strike onto Russian soil and cause World War III. So it's an interesting plan, especially if you don't mind killing all of your people. We never see if he's going to just pick up and take everybody with him, or if he's just going to quietly skulk away and let them find a bunch of dead scrolls. So Gravik turns out not to be that good of a person. Not as, I don't want to say good, but his motivations seemed pure, that he was trying to do what's best for his people. And in this one, it kind of comes down to that what he was really trying to do was just to get power for himself. And we see that in the introduction of the harvest. And this is something we find out about because Fury is down to very few allies, and he's opening up to Sonya Fallsworth, who, by the way, has some great moments in this one, where she goes and takes out the mole in her own midst, and then tracks down the scientists working on the Super Scroll thing, and just great moments. But there's a moment that she's working with Fury, and he explains to her, A, that Rhodey's a Skrull, which surprises her, and that B, what they're looking for, this thing called the harvest, is basically after the battle for Earth, the battle of all the Avengers versus Thanos and his crew. It was obvious that a bunch of them bled, shared, there was DNA out there of the different heroes. And Fury sent in a collection team made up of Skrulls so they could blend in, led by Gravik, and collected all the DNA. And he even points out that one of the people that bled was Carol Danvers. So what Gravik wants is a sampling of the Avengers DNA, so that he can then pull it apart and introduce those abilities into different Skrulls. So that's his master plan. It doesn't have anything to do with necessarily finding a home for his people. He just wants to make them more powerful, including himself. And this doesn't work very well because he goes off on his own people and calls them faceless and that they don't have a voice. He kills Pagan at one point, and he ends up really pissing off the people that's following him, so much so that they try to rebel against him and kill him. but because of his new Super Skrull powers, he's able to defeat them. And so you see this whole thing is just in shambles now. So it's kind of coming down to Gravik versus Fury, because none of them have anybody following them anymore, almost. There are some interesting ties in this, ties to Black Widow. At one point, Fury is walking through an airport in Finland, and he's wearing the Widow's Veil, that device that allows you to change face with the wig, and he's walking through as a tall white guy with gray hair. And he gets outside, he pulls it all off. So that ties back into Black Widow. But another tie into Black Widow is he gets himself to a private jet, gets on board, and Mason comes out. Mason, of course, was Black Widow's friend in the Black Widow movie, the guy that got her the weapons, got her the place to live, kind of a supply guy that would back her up. So, and originally there was talk that he was going to turn out to be Taskmaster, and then they ended up changing it. But, same actor comes back, and so we get Masons. We get another tie. That's like the third tie into Black Widow. If you count the veil, that's kind of Black Widow's thing. You've got Mason, and then we had the reference to Dreykov earlier. So they're trying very hard to make sure we don't forget the Black Widow movie. All right. So let's talk about the things we learned in this episode. And of course, it ends with Fury going to one of the grave sites, pulling out where he hid Harvest, but he's also got a couple hidey holes. And this was the funniest part of the thing to me, and it wasn't intentionally funny. He walks into this mausoleum, and he shows his face, it scans it, and it opens up, and it's his big leather trench coat. It's like, okay. And then he looks to another one, and it opens up, and it's got the eye patch. And then he opens a third one, and it's got a gun and something else. And all I kept thinking at that moment was, I'm pretty sure all those things would have fit in one. You could have had them all just in the one first cubbyhole. You didn't need 3. It's a bit excessive. Because they were all practically empty when he opened them. It's like just the eye patch. Little thing about that big. So yeah, I thought that part was a little silly. But at the end of it, he picks up the phone and he's like, it's time, let's finish this. And nobody really knows who he's talking to at that point. Hello, Allah. I guess it's Allah. Allah El, yeah. So yeah, that's the episode. But the two things that come out of it that really stood out to me. Number one has to do with Gaia. Now, all of the Skrulls are pretending to be somebody. So we've never found out what Gaia's human name is. What is the name of the person she is standing in for, pretending to be? So I think that's important. Now, when early days that Emilia Clarke was announced, there was a lot of talk that she might be playing a character named Abigail Brand. And Abigail Brand is a character that Joss Whedon and John Cassidy created in the X-Men comics. She's half mutant and half alien. And she has some abilities, but she usually works on the space stations, the Sword space station. She runs it. So the fact that they thought it was going to be her is kind of interesting. Now, when we get to the show and she's not playing Abigail Brand, everybody goes, oh, okay, she's just Gaia. She's Talos's daughter. Well, if you go back to that scene where she's giving herself powers, and it really does look like she's only given herself the extremis powers. And the only power we've seen her use is the extremis powers. Well, this is the list of Abigail Brand's powers. She has the ability of heat generation. Her mutant ability is to generate heat with her hands. The upper level of torture, of course, can't be defined. So, energy or heat. Now, one of the side effects of the extremis is it creates incredible heat. Scalding hot, breathing fire, those kind of things. So that would basically cover one of Abigail's powers. The other power is the power of regeneration. And it says, probably due to her half-alien genetics, Brand can heal from most injuries faster than a common human, including surviving a blast to the torso from a laser cannon. Well, what we've got there are pretty much the two powers that Extremis gives you: heat generation and regeneration. So we don't know her character's real name. Oh, and the other thing that Abigail kind of stands out by is she has green hair. Now, if by the end of this, Emilia Clarke's character is working for Fury, and he decides he's going to keep her around and have her come up to the space station, and she decides that if she can't be in her own skin, she can at least hint at it, and decides to make her hair green, and she goes by her human name, which turns out to be Abigail Brand, I could see all that. I could see that working, and then it turns out that initial thing is true. So just something to keep in mind. That's just a thought. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying the potential is there. Now, the second thing has to do with the harvest. All the DNA they have now. Well, if you guys know, they changed Captain America from New World Order to Brave New World. And a lot of people assume that the New World Order was because there's some racist connotation to the term New World Order. That's why they were changing the name. But Brave New World, a dystopian novel by Aldous Huxley, has a very unique thing about it, and that is that Huxley was basically first in his time for talking about cloning, for coming up with the process, cloning these, So what if this harvest material ends up being the catalyst for Brave New World, because now maybe Thunderbolt Ross finds out or whatever that they have the DNA of these heroes and he wants to clone them, and the leader is the guy he gets to start cloning them, and the leader ends up doing bad things with it, whatever, making people like the Hulk. So it seems like maybe this is actually potential to lead into Brave New World. So again, no verification on it, but it's just the two things that came up while watching the show. So we got one episode left. It'll be Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, and then we can do a wrap up on it. So, all right, we'll take our second break, and when we come back, we got a few quick key collectibles, and then that'll be it for the day. So we'll be right back.
Did you know that every Experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
Comic Collectibles is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rockin' Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula, you want the comics, you buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John, who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectibles with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. comic culture and sales.
What if Hans Gruber from Die Hard had to battle the Joker from Batman the Animated Series in a dance battle? Or who would win in a race between Baby from Baby Driver and Snidely Whiplash? If Austin Powers and Shrek found themselves in a hot dog eating contest, who would emerge victorious? These are the questions we talk about on Nerd Killer Warfare. Debate the most absurd questions you've ever heard in popular culture. Register now by scanning the QR code or visiting bit.ly/EXP casting. Go follow the experience on TikTok at @the_EXP1 or scan the QR code on the screen. Our TikTok is like everywhere else we are, except you only have to deal with us for a minute. Seems like a win-win to me.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. I hope you guys are having a good day. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. I see Bronze Age Nerd has popped in. Hey Bronze, I got an idea for a show for you and Kyle to debate. Reviewing of shows. Whether you should review the material as it is or review it based on your preconceived notions and what, how you would want it to be and stuff like that. So I see a lot of people out there reviewing things based on what they wish it was instead of actually reviewing what is in front of them. So I think that'd be a good topic for you and Kyle. All right, let's go through these key collectibles as quickly as possible. These are Key Secret Invasion. Talking about Abigail Brand, I thought let's see about her key issues. Astonishing X-Men number 3 from 2004. This was her first cameo appearance. Love that John Cassidy cover. This goes for a high end of 10, median of 2, low end of 1. Astonishing X-Men number 6. This is her first full appearance of Abigail Brand, plus the first mention of Sword. This goes, 160, 55 on the median, 15 on the low end. And then on the low, then we got Giant Size Astonishing X-Men number 1 from 2008. This is her showing up on the cover for the first time. This goes for high end of 3, median of 2, low end of 1. New Avengers number 4, 2005. This is actually the first appearance of Maria Hill. So, I mean, it seems like she's been around forever, but this is where her first appeared. $12 in the high, $3 on the median, low end as $1. New Avengers number 6 from 2005. This was her second appearance. That's another good cover. That's a David Finch cover. High end 18, median is 5, low end is $1. And then Maria Hill joins the Avengers in Avengers number 1 from 2010. $12 in the high end, $3 on the median, low end of $1. And then we're going to jump over, since we have Sonia Falsworth in here, we're going to look at her family lineage and that of the Union Jack. Now, Invaders number 7 from 1976. This was the first appearance of James Montgomery Falsworth, who's also known as Union Jack. This is the character we meet in Captain America the Winter Soldier, First Avenger. He's one of the Howling Commandos. He would go on to be the first Union Jack. High end is 30, median is 9, low end is 3. Then in number 8, we get him, the Union Jack, joins the Invaders. I've loved that costume when I was a kid. I just thought that was awesome. High end is 15, median is 5, low end is 1. Invaders number 19, from 1977, Brian Falsworth cameos as Union Jack. Now, the interesting thing about Union Jack is they have gone through more Union Jacks than Spinal Tap goes through drummers. Okay, they are constantly changing. This one, Brian Falsworth, I think is the son of James Falsworth, so he might be the father of Sonia Falsworth. Haven't seen the lineage line yet, but high end is $10, median is $5, low end is $2. She could also be the daughter of the other character on the cover, Spitfire, who is another Falsworth. That's Jacqueline Falsworth. This is Invaders number 20 from 77. It's the first full appearance of Brian Falsworth as the Union Jack. High end on this is 50, median is 15, low end is 5, and that's another iconic cover. Love that cover. So, all right, so that is our books for today. Braun says I'd expand that to comics in general too. There you go. Yeah, but I just see that in comics and movies and everything, that people seem to be critiquing more based on what they want to see and not what is presented, which is not fair. And yeah, that is a wonderful Finch cover. So a couple of good covers there, both a John Cassidy cover and a David Finch cover. All right, guys. So like I said, for going forward until we hear different, we will be covering some TV and stuff. We won't be doing any paid promotions for TVs. Not that anybody's ever offered to pay for that yet. But we will be doing our coverage as usual. And I appreciate you guys showing up. Again, sorry that it was a bit scattered, but I hope you guys had fun and have a great weekend. Remember to come back for What's in the Box and Sketch Up. And remember to check out that Red Sonja Humble Bundle. It's a really good deal, and there's some great issues on there. So, all right, guys, I will see you soon. Have a good one.
Do you remember what it was like when you were a little kid and you got a letter in the mail? Now imagine that letter was filled with information about your favorite shows, pop culture questions, links to things you're going to want to see later, and even sneak peeks at upcoming programming here on The Experience. That's what the EXP mailing list is. Every week, we send you sneak peeks, information, and all of the relevant links for all of the shows you want to see. Sign up now on our website or scan the QR code that's on your screen right now.